Have you ever stopped to think why some people seem to have their lives perfectly aligned, while others are always racing to keep up? It's not about chance, natural gifts, or even access to better possibilities. It all comes down to one core principle: mastery. Mastery over what you express, what you believe, how you feel, and how you manage your resources. Let me share a truth with you. If you can take command of your words, your mindset, your emotions, and your money, you can take command of your entire existence. Most folks don't realize that the key to transforming their reality lies within them, ready to be unlocked. But if you don't govern these aspects, they'll govern you. They define your world, influence every choice you make, every bond you nurture, and every chance you either grab or let pass by. Master them, and you steer your destiny. Let them run unchecked, and you'll find yourself in a place you never intended to be. Today, we're going to dive into this truth. We're going to unpack it, and when we're done, you'll walk away with a renewed sense of purpose and authority over your life. Let's begin with your words. When I talk about mastering your words, I'm not just saying to hold back when you're frustrated, though that matters. I'm talking about recognizing the incredible force behind every syllable you utter. Your words are like sparks. Once they're released, you can't call them back. Too many people miss this. They speak without pause, throwing out complaints or idle chatter without thinking about the consequences. But here's the reality. The words you release have the power to sculpt your life, your connections, and your path forward. When you speak, you're not just describing your reality, you're crafting it. The words you choose form the foundation of your existence. If you're always talking about how difficult life is, how unjust the world feels, or how out of reach your dreams seem, you're constructing a reality that reflects those very thoughts. You're sending that energy into the universe, and the universe answers. But if you speak with optimism, proclaim opportunities, and encourage those around you, you're building a space where growth and positivity can thrive. Think about the people who inspire you. Do they spread uncertainty? Do they put others down? Or do they use their words to uplift, to move forward, to create pathways for themselves and others? That's the kind of influence you possess, the ability to breathe hope into any moment. But that influence can also cause harm if you're reckless. You got to be intentional with your words. So, the next time you're about to say something, take a breath. Ask yourself, will this improve the moment or make it worse? Is what I'm about to say grounded in truth, or is it fueled by fleeting emotions? Too often, people let their feelings hijack their words, blurting out things they later wish they could take back. But once those words are out, they're out. You can apologize, you could try to mend things, but the impact lingers. That's why you need to be purposeful about what you say. And here's another angle. This isn't just about how you speak to others. It's about how you speak to yourself. The way you talk to yourself is powerful. The words you use when you reflect on your life, your strengths, your future, they shape your reality. If you keep telling yourself, I can't handle this, I'm not enough, or this is too much, you'll start to believe it. You'll limit yourself because you're feeding your mind a false narrative. You'll act as if those barriers are real when they're just echoes of the negativity you've spoken. But when you shift that narrative and start using empowering, affirming words with yourself, everything transforms. When you wake up and tell yourself, I'm ready for whatever comes, I'm capable, I'm worthy of success, you build the confidence and mindset to push forward. You talk yourself into resilience and bravery, and soon, those words become actions. Those actions turn into habits that define your future. Mastering your words isn't about silence. It's about intention. It's about understanding that every word you speak either fuels your progress or pulls you back. It's about realizing that your words hold power over your relationships, your opportunities, and even how you view yourself. Life will throw obstacles your way. That's certain. But when you choose your words with care, you can navigate those obstacles with clarity and purpose. When you speak words of insight, optimism, and truth, you attract those qualities into your life. People will see you differently. They'll value you more, turn to you for guidance, because they know you're someone who speaks with purpose, someone who uses words to build, not break. Think of your words as seeds. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, that's what you'll harvest. But if you plant seeds of hope, resolve, and positivity, that's what will flourish in your life. Be mindful of the seeds you're sowing, because you'll live in the world you create. Too many people waste their energy talking about what's wrong, what they lack, or what's missing. They grumble about their circumstances, their work, their relationships, and wonder why nothing shifts. But they're not tapping into the power they already hold. They're not speaking hope into their situations. They're not taking charge of the one thing they can control, their words. If you want to see transformation in your life, it starts with what you say. Let me paint a picture. Imagine someone who's always talking about how tough life is. Every time you meet them, they're venting about something. What kind of vibe are they putting out? What opportunities are they drawing in? Not the good ones, that's for sure. Now picture someone who speaks with hope, who focuses on answers instead of issues. You can feel the difference, right? That's the power of words. That's the power of mastering your speech. If you want to thrive, to lead, to make an impact in this world, you've got to get your words in check. Stop speaking defeat. Stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I will. Stop dwelling on what's wrong and start talking about what's possible. And don't just do this for yourself, do it for those around you. When you master your words, you become a source of strength for others. Your words can lift someone up when they're struggling, inspire them to keep going when they're ready to quit. But if you're careless, constantly criticizing or complaining, you'll push people away. You'll create a space where negativity thrives, and that's not the mark you want to leave. Let's circle back to mastery. You can't control everything in life. Other people's choices, the situation you're born into, or the challenges you face. But you can control your words. You can choose words that empower, inspire, and uplift. You can be intentional, knowing the weight your words carry. This isn't just about success. It's about living with purpose. It's about recognizing your ability to shape your reality, influence the world around you, and leave a positive mark on those you meet. Words are a tool. Use them wisely, and they'll build a life that reflects your true potential. Use them carelessly, and they'll shatter opportunities before they can take root. So, the next time you speak, remember, your words have power. Master them. Speak with purpose. Speak hope into your future, your relationships, and your own worth, and watch how the world transforms around you. Now, let's get real about your mindset. Your mind is your greatest asset. It's where everything begins, every action, every decision, every habit you form. Your mind is where victories are secured or lost long before they appear in your life. You got to grasp this. If you don't take charge of your mindset, it will take charge of you. When that happens, you live reactively, driven by fear and uncertainty instead of purpose and clarity. Think about it. Everything you've ever done, good or bad, started with a thought. Whether it was pursuing a dream, hitting the gym, or stumbling into a mistake, it all began in your head. That's why the idea that your thoughts shape who you are is so profound. Your life is molded by the ideas you allow to take root. What you dwell on grows. If your mind is filled with negativity, fear, or self-doubt, that's the path your life will follow. But if you fill it with thoughts of progress, opportunity, and determination, you'll move toward those things instead. Too many people let their minds run wild, allowing fear and doubt to take the wheel. They obsess over what could go wrong, what others think, or whether they measure up. Once those thoughts take hold, they spiral. One negative thought leads to another, and soon they're trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and worry, frozen by the very thoughts they've allowed to dominate. But you don't have to live that way. You can rewrite the story in your mind. You can choose to master your thoughts. And when you do, you take the reins of your life. Mastering your mindset isn't about ignoring challenges or pretending fear doesn't exist. Fear is real. Doubt is real. But what you do with those feelings is what matters. Will you let fear stop you, or will you acknowledge it and keep moving forward? That's the choice you make every day. When you master your mind, you don't erase fear or doubt. You rise above them. You learn to manage them, push through them, and keep going even when the odds seem stacked against you. This is where discipline comes in. You got to train your mind like an athlete trains their body. Mental strength doesn't just appear. It's built over time with intention and effort. You got to be deliberate about what you let into your mind. Too many people feed their minds with junk, negative news, toxic social media drama, and then wonder why they feel overwhelmed and stressed. What you feed your mind is as important as what you feed your body. If you're constantly consuming negativity, it's no surprise you struggle to stay positive and focused. So what do? Protect your mind like it's your most precious possession, because it is. Be selective about what you let in. If it doesn't inspire you, align with your goals, or reflect your values, let it go. Instead, fill your mind with things that challenge you, push you to grow, and spark inspiration. Read books that ignite new ideas and possibilities. Listen to people who motivate you, who've walked the path you want to take, who've overcome the hurdles you're facing. And here's another key. Surround yourself with people who elevate you. The company you keep shapes your mindset. If you're around negative, complaining people, that energy will rub off. But if you're with driven, focused, positive people, that energy is contagious. The more you immerse yourself in positivity and success, the more your mind reflects that. You'll believe in yourself more, see opportunities where others see barriers, and tackle challenges with confidence instead of fear. Mastering your mindset also means being intentional about your thoughts. When a negative thought slips in, and you've got to catch it, challenge it, and replace it with something better. You can't let negative thoughts linger and fester. If you do, they'll take root and grow into something bigger than they need to be. When you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, pause and ask, is that really true? What evidence do I have that I can't? Most of the time, you'll realize those negative thoughts aren't rooted in reality. They're just fear talking. So challenge them. Rewrite the script. Replace them with thoughts that serve you. Another powerful tool for mastering your mind is visualization. When you picture your goals, your dreams, your success, you train your mind to focus on what you want, not what you fear. When you can see it in your mind, you start to believe it's possible. And once you believe it's possible, you'll take the steps to make it real. Visualization isn't just daydreaming. It's programming your mind for success. It's creating a mental blueprint of where you're headed and letting that guide your actions. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. Will you let the world shape your thoughts, or will you take charge of your mind? It's easy to get swept up in life's chaos, to let stress, fear, or negativity take over. But you have the power to choose a different path. You can focus on what you can control, think positively, and approach every situation with a mindset that says, I've got this. When you start your day with that intention, everything else falls into place. Meditation and prayer are also powerful ways to master your mind. When you take time each day to quiet your thoughts, center yourself, and connect with something greater, you give your mind the space to recharge and refocus. Meditation helps you become aware of your thoughts so you can catch the negative ones before they spiral. Prayer reminds you that you're not alone, that you're part of something bigger, and that you have the strength to overcome any challenge. The bottom line? Mastering your mind is a daily practice. It's not a one-time fix. It's a commitment to yourself, your goals, and your future. It's about taking responsibility for your thoughts and knowing they shape your life. When you master your mind, you reclaim your destiny. You're no longer at the mercy of fear, doubt, or negativity. You're in the driver's seat, steering your life where you want to go. So start today. Be mindful of your thoughts. Feed your mind with information, people, and experiences that push you toward success. Challenge negative thoughts when they arise and replace them with ones that serve you. Visualize your goals, meditate, pray, and take charge of your mind. Because when you do, you take charge of your life. And once your mind is under control, there's nothing you can't achieve. Now, let's talk about something people often overlook, but that plays a massive role in how their lives unfold. Your emotions. Your emotions are like the lens through which you see the world. And if you don't manage them, that lens could distort everything. Think about it. You've probably seen someone wake up in a foul mood and carry that negative energy all day. Every interaction is tense. Every challenge feels like a crisis. They act like the world is against them, when really, it's their emotions causing the problem. They've let a fleeting feeling take over and dictate how they experience their day. But here's what you need to know. Your emotions don't just happen to you. You have more control over them than you think. Your emotions aren't some external force you're powerless against. There's something you can regulate, something you can manage, no matter what's happening around you. When you realize you have the power to shape your emotional state, everything changes. Let's be clear, emotions are real. I'm not saying to ignore how you feel. If you're angry, you're angry. If you're sad, you're sad. Those feelings are valid and deserve to be acknowledged. But just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to let it control you. Emotions are like waves. They rise, they fall, they come, they go. You don't have to be swept away by them. You can learn to ride the wave instead of drowning in it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking their feelings are facts. They wake up stressed or anxious and believe their whole day is ruined. But feelings aren't facts. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's the absolute truth. It doesn't mean your day is doomed or your life is off track. It's just an emotion, and it's temporary. The moment you understand that, the moment you see your emotions as fluid and changeable, you take back control. It starts with awareness. Most people go through their day on autopilot, not even noticing how their emotions are affecting them. They let their feelings drive their actions without realizing it. They're reacting instead of responding. But when you become aware of your emotions, when you check in with yourself and ask, how am I feeling right now? You give yourself the power to shift that energy. You become the driver, not the passenger. Think about it. How many times have you let something small ruin your whole day? Maybe you got stuck in traffic or someone said something that irritated you. Before you know it, you're carrying that frustration all day, snapping at people, getting upset over things that don't matter. You let one small moment snowball into something bigger than it needed to be. But when you master your emotions, you can stop that snowball before it rolls. You can pause, take a breath, and decide how you want to respond. You can choose to let it go, to not let that moment define your day. That's the key, choice. You always have a choice when it comes to your emotions. You may not control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to dwell on the negative or focus on the positive. You can let a bad moment ruin your day or move on and make the best of it. It's all up to you. When you see your emotions as something you can control, you stop being a victim of your circumstances. You become empowered. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean faking a smile or pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about managing them in a way that serves you, not letting them run the show. It's about finding healthy ways to process your emotions so they don't drive your actions in a negative way. Let's talk about gratitude for a moment. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for managing your emotions. When you focus on what you're thankful for, when you consciously shift your attention to the good in your life, it's nearly impossible to stay in a negative state. Gratitude forces you to see that no matter what's going wrong, there's still something going right. It changes your perspective, shifting your focus from what's missing to what's abundant. So when you're in a bad mood, when things aren't going your way, take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as waking up today, having a place to live, or having people who care about you. Focus on it. Let it fill you up. Let it remind you that, even in tough times, there's something to be thankful for. Gratitude changes everything. Another powerful tool for controlling your emotions is your mindset. Your emotions are tied to how you think. If you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, focusing on what's wrong or what's lacking, it's hard to stay in a positive mood. But if you train your mind to see challenges as opportunities and setbacks as lessons, your emotions will follow. Your mood reflects your thoughts, so if you want to master your emotions, start by mastering your mind. When you see your emotions as something you can control, you stop being a victim of your circumstances. You become empowered. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean faking a smile or pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about managing them in a way that serves you, not letting them run the show. It's about finding healthy ways to process your emotions so they don't drive your actions in a negative way. Let's talk about gratitude for a moment. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for managing your emotions. When you focus on what you're thankful for, when you consciously shift your attention to the good in your life, it's nearly impossible to stay in a negative state. Gratitude forces you to see that no matter what's going wrong, there's still something going right. It changes your perspective, shifting your focus from what's missing to what's abundant. So when you're in a bad mood, when things aren't going your way, take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as waking up today, having a place to live, or having people who care about you. Focus on it. Let it fill you up. Let it remind you that even in tough times, there's something to be thankful for. Gratitude changes everything. Another powerful tool for controlling your emotions is your mindset. Your emotions are tied to how you think. If you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, focusing on what's wrong or what's lacking, it's hard to stay in a positive mood. But if you train your mind to see challenges as opportunities and setbacks as lessons, your emotions will follow. Your mood reflects your thoughts, so if you want to master your emotions, start by mastering your mind. Meditation and mindfulness are great ways to do this. When you take time each day to quiet your mind and center yourself, you create space for positive energy to flow. You become more aware of your thoughts, which lets you shift your emotions when they start to go off track. Instead of reacting to every little thing, you learn to respond with intention. You choose how you feel, rather than letting your emotions choose for you. And don't forget about your energy. Your mood is contagious. The energy you put out comes back to you. If you're walking around with a negative attitude, always complaining, always focusing on what's wrong, you'll attract more negativity. But if you're positive, optimistic, and grateful, that energy attracts more of the same. People will want to be around you. Opportunities will open up. Success will come your way. So take charge of your emotions. Don't let them control you. Don't let a bad morning turn into a bad day, or a bad day turn into a bad week. Recognize that you have the power to shift your energy at any moment. You can choose positivity, gratitude, and to see the good, even in challenges. When you do, your life will start to change. Your emotions matter. They affect your relationships, your career, your happiness. So pay attention to how you're feeling. Check in with yourself regularly. When your mood starts to slip, take steps to shift it. Breathe, reflect, focus on what's good. Choose gratitude. Choose positivity. Because when you master your emotions, you master your life. And finally, let's talk about money. This is a big one, and I don't just mean dollars and cents. I'm talking about your mindset toward money. Money can be a tool that gives you freedom, or it can be a chain that weighs you down and keeps you up at night. Too many people are controlled by money, or the lack of it. They're living paycheck to paycheck, wondering how they'll make ends meet. They're drowning in debt, feeling like they'll never get ahead. They don't have a plan, and because of that, they feel powerless. But here's the truth. Money, like everything else, is something you can control. You just have to be intentional about it. You have to decide to take charge of it instead of letting it take charge of you. First off, let's clear something up. Money isn't the root of all evil. You've heard that saying, right? People throw it around, but they're getting it wrong. It's not money that's the problem. It's the obsession with money. When you chase at all costs, when you're willing to do anything to get more, that's when trouble starts. But money itself? It's neutral. It's a tool. And how you use that tool makes all the difference. You can use it to build something meaningful, something lasting, something that benefits you and those around you. Or you can use it recklessly and end up in a deeper hole than you started in. The choice is yours. So how do you take charge of your money? It starts with a plan. You need to know where every dollar is going before it even arrives. Too many people spend without thinking, reacting to every sale, every impulse, every fleeting want. But if you want to control your money, you've got to be proactive. That means budgeting, saving, and investing in your future. It's about being intentional with every dollar you have. Budgeting might not sound exciting, but let me tell you, budgeting is freedom. When you have a budget, you know exactly where your money is going. You're not guessing or stressing. You're in control. You're telling your money what to do instead of wondering where it went. And when you're intentional, you stop letting your emotions drive your spending. Let's talk about emotions and money. They don't mix well. How many times have you had a rough day and decided to buy something to feel better? How many times have you said, I deserve this, and bought something you couldn't afford? We've all been there. But just because you feel like you deserve something doesn't mean you should buy it. Emotional spending is a trap. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of debt and stress. You've got to be smart with your money. Think long-term, not just about today. Think about where you want to be in 5 or 10 years. Think about the life you want to create for yourself and your family. Then make decisions that get you there. That means saving, investing, and living below your means, even when it seems like everyone else is living large. Let's talk about saving. A lot of people aren't saving nearly enough. They're living for today, spending every penny they earn, hoping tomorrow will sort itself out. But tomorrow's coming, ready or not. You got to prepare for it. Start by building an emergency fund, something to cover life's unexpected expenses. Because life will throw curveballs. The car will break down, the roof will leak, medical bills will come. If you don't have money set aside, you'll end up in a hole that's hard to climb out of. Once your emergency fund is in place, think about your future. Think about retirement, investments, building wealth that lasts. Wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. It's about building something sustainable. Too many people focus on earning more, but ignore how much they're spending. They make 6 figures but live paycheck to paycheck because they spend it all as soon as it comes in. That's not wealth. Wealth is when you're building a legacy, creating financial freedom for yourself and those who come after you. Financial freedom doesn't mean having millions in the bank. It means controlling your money instead of it controlling you. It means living within your means, having a plan, and making sure your money works for you, not against you. When you have financial freedom, you have options. You can live life on your terms, pursue your passions, give back to your community in meaningful ways, and invest in what matters to you. But you'll never get there if you let your money run the show, if you let emotions drive your spending, or if you spend more than you earn. So here's what you do. Get clear about where your money is going. Track your spending. Look at every dollar coming in and going out. Then create a budget that reflects your priorities. Make sure you're saving, investing, and thinking long-term, not just about today. And here's the thing. It's never too late to start. Whether you're 25 or 55, just starting out or nearing retirement, you can take control of your money. It might take time and sacrifice, but it's worth it. Because when you control your money, you're not just building wealth, you're building freedom. That freedom lets you live life on your terms, pursue your passions, and give back in ways that matter. So take charge of your money. Don't let it control you. Be intentional, disciplined, make a plan, and stick to it. When you do, you're not just securing your financial future, you're securing your freedom. You're creating a life defined by possibility, opportunity, and abundance, not stress or debt. That's a life worth living. Let's tie it all together. Master your words, your mindset, your emotions, and your money. These are the pillars that will shape your life's quality. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control how you respond. That's where your true power lies. You're not a victim of circumstance or at the mercy of life's ups and downs. You have the power to shape your reality, create your future, and live a life full of purpose, meaning, and success. But it starts with taking control. Your words, the things you say, are more powerful than you realize. You can speak hope or destruction. Every time you talk, you're choosing to build something up or tear it down. You can strengthen your relationships, career, and self-worth with your words, or you can sabotage them. When you're purposeful with your words, life flows smoother. People respond to you differently. Doors open that would have stayed closed if you were careless. And it's not just about speaking kindly to others. It's about speaking kindly to yourself. The way you talk to yourself matters. If you keep saying, I can't, I'm not enough, or I'll never succeed, you'll believe it and act on it. So master your words, because they create the world you live in. Next, master your mindset. Your mind is a battlefield, and the war is won or lost there. Every action, habit, and goal starts with a thought. If you don't control your thoughts, they'll run wild. Doubt, fear, and negativity will creep in and take over if you let them. But you don't have to. You can choose what you focus on, Fill your mind with positive, empowering thoughts and feed it with knowledge, inspiration, and faith. When you do, your actions will follow. You'll make better decisions, push harder, and go further than you ever thought possible. When you master your mind, you master your destiny. Now, master your emotions. Too many of us let our feelings dictate how we show up in the world. We let a bad day ruin everything. A small setback turn into a big problem. But your emotions are your responsibility. You can't always control what happens, but you can control how you respond. Choose gratitude over frustration, optimism over despair. When you do, your energy shifts. Positive energy attracts people, opportunities, and success. So don't let your emotions run the show. You're in charge. And finally, master your money. Money is a tool, not something to endlessly chase or fear. Manage it wisely. Budget, save, invest. Financial freedom isn't about being rich. It's about having options, making choices that align with your values, and living without constant worry. When you control your money, you're building a life that lets you pursue your passions and help others. None of this happens overnight. It takes time, effort, and discipline. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't need to have it all figured out now. But you do need to start. Start today. Maybe it's watching what you say, taking charge of your thoughts, choosing positivity, or creating a budget. Take that first step, then another. Before you know it, you'll have built a life that's intentional, meaningful, and yours. As you take control of these 4 areas, your words, mindset, emotions, and money, you'll see a shift. You're not just reacting to life anymore. You're creating it. You're in the driver's seat, and that's a powerful place to be. But it's not just about you. When you take control, you create a ripple effect. You inspire others, show them what's possible, and lift them up. Whether it's your family, friends, or community, when you live with intention, you become a leader, a light in a world that needs it. So don't wait. Don't let life happen to you. Take charge. Master your words, your mindset, your emotions, and your money. It won't be easy or quick, but it will be worth it. One day, you'll look back and see that you didn't just live your life. You created it. You shaped it. You owned it. You built a legacy, a life full of purpose, meaning, and success. So start today. Take that first step. Master your life, because no one else will do it for you. You have the power. It's in your hands. What are you going to do with it?